All right, so welcome. Today we're going to look at creating a little app here based on a very old game show called Let's Make a Deal. It's the Monty Hall. It's the three doors. You choose which door you want, and behind one of them is a fabulous prize, and the other ones maybe not so much, or maybe they're okay as well. But it's a fun little game, and the idea here is that every time we play, we don't want to pick the same door. We want to have this door change whatever is our fabulous prize door. So generally, when you start, you want to start thinking a little bit about the overall idea here. And that'll help us when we get into code.org, trying to figure out what screens we want to do and things like that. So I like to start off with either it's just a piece of paper and a pencil is great, or in this case, I've just picked Notepad or just a Paint here. And I want to just kind of think about what I want this to look like. So on the first screen, I'm going to have some design here. I'm going to just let's make a deal, or the Monty Hall game, or pick a door, something that that introduces my game. I'm going to have three doors. Basically, it's a very simple game here. We just have three doors. I'll label them 1, 2, and 3, and some, I don't know, maybe some instructions or something like that. Um, Pick a door. All right. Now, one of these doors is going to lead to a fabulous prize full of riches and money and fame and wealth and something like that. And the other two doors can go to the same screen, which is sad face or whatever I decide to be there. So that looks, I think, all we want to do. And then maybe we want to also have like maybe a play again button or something so that they could try it a couple times. I just write that again and again. So when you're starting off making a brand new app, you usually have some kind of scope or idea of what you want it to look like. But trust me, take 5 minutes at the beginning and just sketch out kind of the different screens that are going to be available on this app. It will save you a ton of time organizing and trying to figure out what you want to do. Because now I can start to realize and break down all the bits. I've got some labels here. There's a label here. I have 3 things I need to click on. I don't know what those will be, pictures or buttons or something. I'm going to need a picture of some rewards. I'm going to need a picture of some sadness here, and then 2 buttons that basically do the same thing. They just take me back to this. But we also need to figure out which one of these doors is going to be the wonderful door and which of the 2 is going to be the sad door. So at some point in time, we're going to need to mix this up, because I don't want always door number 2 to be the winning door. That'll be a silly game, and why would you want to play again? Um, so let's get into it here. And I've got my App Lab all set up here, and I can see there's my screen. So already I know exactly what the first screen is going to be. I'm going to need some pictures of a door, and I'm going to need some kind of table there. So I'm going to go to my design mode, and I'm going to do something like, where's my label there? Bring the label, there we go. Let's make a deal. And I'm not going to spend a ton of time on the design right now. You can obviously make your thing look fabulous and how you want, but you can do that on your own time. You don't need my advice right now, although do think and use some of those design thinking ideas that we developed, and we'll kind of break it down, and I'll get you to share your apps, and maybe there's some things that you need to tweak and change for that. Now, the next thing is I need a picture of a door of some sort, and that's easy enough to find. Let's click that, and I'm just going to go choose an image. Now you can download it, would be the best thing once you found kind of your assets. In this case, I'm just going to very quickly go onto the internet here and go find a picture of a door, not DoorDash, but door. And then I can just grab any old door. Well, you know, take some time, pick a nice one here. This door looks fabulous to me, so I'm just going to copy the image address. And I'm going to steal that and just paste it in here. And often, if you've got a bunch of this stuff at the end, sometimes the App Lab doesn't like it. Like here's the name of the picture. Let's see what happens when I do it. Oh, no, the door came up perfect. So that's great. So I've got one door and I can copy and paste it. Copy and paste. Oh no, I can duplicate it here with this duplicate button. Now I can get my second door and I can duplicate it and get my third door and go back and name them. We'll call them, we'll call it door number 1, door number 2, and door number 3. And I don't want to go through the entire step of how it's going to work, but what I do want is one of these doors is going to be the winning door, and it's going to change each time. So I want to get into the code because you haven't done any of that. You've got a ton of the UI controls here, which you did in your tutorial. A few of these, but you'll see there's way more. And one of the nice parts about this is if you hover over top, it'll kind of tell you what each one does. Creates a text input and assigns it an element ID. So you can delete things, you can change the size, you can change the position, you can change the color, you can do a whole bunch of things. And if it's not explanatory to you, not self-explanatory, what I'd highly recommend is going over, clicking on where it says examples here. This has got great documentation. So a huge part of learning a new language is being able to have access to the documentation to see how it works in that language. And this is usually fabulous in App Lab. It tells you a little bit about it here and then gives you a bunch of examples of the code and how it's used, and then what kind of things that block or that function needs. And then even over here, you can see all of them come up there. So in this case, I want to, one of my doors is going to be the winning door. So I need to randomly come up with whatever door that is. And if you're brand new, this is going to be new for you. But if you've done some Python or other languages before, we know we need to probably generate a random number. And under the math, you're going to find that we have a random number function. Basically, you can create, the computer will pick a random number between the first number and the second number here. I've got 3 doors, so all I need is a random number between 1 and 3. That's handy. But as you remember, computers need to remember something, and they need a place to remember that. They need a box, or what we call a variable. And in JavaScript, variables, you must say the name of the variable first and then make it equal to something at the beginning. This is a little different than Python. Python, you could just say x equals something, and it would make a new box called x and put a number in there. You may remember, if you've done this before, from Godot, they switched to this. This is called explicit declaration. Basically, you say, I am going to make a new variable. It is called this, and it is going to be equal to that. So right at the beginning of the program, I'm just going to drag that up, and I'm going to make a new variable. The variable, I'll call it winning door. And remember some basic rules for variables. All words, all letters, and numbers, it's got to start with a letter. You can also have the underscore in there, and you should really make it descriptive. Don't call your variables X or Bob or things like that. Call it what it is storing. So I'm going to make a winning door here, and the winning door is equal to either 1, 2, or 3, depending on what happens, and that's where that math comes in. So I'm going to choose a random number, and I'm just going to drag that up under there and say the winning door is some number between 1 and 3. Now it's giving me a little warning here saying, oh, we've made it, but we're not using it. So if you just see those little yellow things, don't worry too much about them. They're just kind of cautionary things saying it's not a great idea to make a variable and then not use it in your program. But my program is pretty basic at the moment. So I've now created a winning door. And right at the beginning, now when I click on that winning door, either 1, 2, or 3, I'm either going to be taken to my yay screen or my boo screen. So let's now move on to some other coding here. And basically, here's my door 1, my door 2, door 3. So if I click door 1 and the winning number happened to be 1, then I am fabulous. So luckily, we can say this on event, right? And we did this already. On event, when we click on door 1, we then want to ask the question, hey, was the winning number number 1? And that, for those of you who've done this before, is an if-then statement. If you're brand new, we need to basically make a decision and say, was this thing true? That is generally under control here, and you'll see your for loop, a while loop, an if else, and all those different kind of statements here. Now, if something is true, it will do it. On this hand, though, if the winning door was number 1, I would want to go to the winning screen. If it wasn't, I want to do something else. So the block of code I want here is the if-else statement. I'm going to drag that up there. Again, if you don't like this drag and dropping, you prefer code, remember you can always at any point in time click show text, and it'll start to look like this hand-coded programming that you are more comfortable with or more familiar with, and you can actually just write and type in here everything you like. Just remember, you got to get it perfect if you want to switch back and forth between the blocks and the text. So my question here is, if door 1, if the winning number was 1, and if I clicked on door 1, then I am a winner. And that is, again, also under the math. And notice you've got this, your basic math here, first number plus another number here. But you also have these comparison operators, which we've done before. The first one here is equality operator, tests whether two values are equal. I want to know, is the winning door number equal to number 1? And some other ones you may have seen from other languages if you've done this before. So I'm going to grab that little equals thing here and say, well, if winning door, and if you don't want to just type it in, you can just say under variables here, if var, oh, maybe I can't do that. Interesting. So we'll just type it in there. If winning door is equal to 1, well, then I'm going to go to my win screen. Now, I don't have a win screen yet, so that would be something you would make under the design. You can make yourself a new screen. I'm going to name this to win screen to make more sense. And I don't know, I'll just put a little picture of a happy face or something like that here. Actually, right now, you can figure that out. I'm just going to say win, just so I know if it works. And I'm going to make a new screen, thinking ahead here. I'm going to call that the lose screen. And I'm just going to put a label here. Again, you make a nice picture or something like that, rather than this boring thing. We're going to talk a little bit about user interface as we go along, but this at least will get it working and make sure that my programming side of things works. So back to my screen 1, and I'll probably, let's go design here. Let's call this door screen, just so we get good names, good descriptive names for all of my things. So if the winning door was number 1 and I clicked on door number 1, then I am going to go to the win screen. So I can set, where's my set screen here? I've lost it. Button text input. Show screen. I'm going to pause it. Oh, there we go. Set screen. Perfect. There's my set screen. And I'm going to go to the win screen. And same idea. If the winning door was not equal to 1 and I clicked on 1, then I lose. So I want to go to my lose screen. And for new people, this is a huge, powerful part of computing. It's the ability for the computer to start making decisions or to start doing things, different things based on different circumstances. Now, let's see if that works. Well, I honestly don't know. Well, it'll take me to one or the other. So let's run the program. In theory, we've got a winning number. And if I click on this, it did work. Run that again. I win. I win. Oh, run again. I win. I'm always winning. That seems unlikely. Oh, I lose there. Not sure why it's asking for a double click there. But there we go. Just could be my mouse there. So sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. Oh, I'm trying to drag it sometimes there. Sometimes I win, sometimes I lose. Would be maybe nice at the beginning, just as a programmer, to kind of see what you expect to happen. So a really handy feature here is what we call console.log. This is kind of like the print function in Python. It's basically, it's not something we ever use as our finished program, but it's really handy for what we call debugging purposes, to let us know what's going on. And the debug console will be just down here. So I'm going to throw just under here, just so I know what to expect. It's going to write out, in this case, it would write the word message. So if I run, you'll see what happens is message pops up down there. But as a programmer, and if I do it again, you'll see just message is down there as well. As a programmer, it's going to be kind of nice to know what to expect. So I actually want to know what the winning door is going to be before I click it. I know it's cheating, but I'm going to cheat anyway. I'm the programmer. I get to design this. So I'm going to say winning door is what I would like to write down there. So now when I write it, when I run the game, I can see 1. I know 1 is going to be the winning door. If I run it again, oh, this time 3 is the winning door. So if I click on here, I would expect to see lose, and that's indeed what I get. So don't forget to remove that from your program later on, but it's really handy as a coder to do some debugging there. Now, the simple part of this would be to do door number 2. Now, I could redo all of that again and just change winning door to be number 2, because basically it's repetitive code. But later on, I could make a function with this if I wanted to. But for the beginning here, rather than reprogramming all this, it's almost identical. Let us steal that. And you can just drag a box around a line of code here if you want, and go Control-C on your keyboard and Control-V on your keyboard. And it's going to copy all of that code. And now all I have to do is change door number 1 to door number 2 and say door number 2, like that. And as you go along now, you can start to see how this is going to work. So I know the winning door is going to be door number 3. So if I click on either one of these, I would expect to lose. Now, I don't want to have to reset each time. So another button that we would probably want to add here, as we saw that, is some kind of play again, which would take us back to the first screen, as you can probably figure out how to do. But don't forget, an important thing is this random number only happens when I start the program. So if I have a reset, unfortunately, there's no way of just restarting this whole thing other than hitting reset. So you'll probably want to generate a new random number so that each time it's not the same. But I'm going to leave it there and let you finish off your game, your Let's Make a Deal game on your own. Come back and check any of these things if you need a hand, and puzzle through, and also start thinking about the design of this. How is it going to be more user-friendly, more easy to understand what the purpose of it is? Is there other things you'd like to add to this Let's Make a Deal game? Maybe you want to figure out how much money you've won, or how many times you've won or lost, or do you want to, we'll come up with other ideas in class. So there you go. Enjoy and have a little fun making Let's Make a Deal door number 1, 2, or 3.